Hello everybody, I hope you're all doing well today. I thought we'd just see whatever we can get into, but I wanted to start off with some Mac items. I've already recorded this like a bunch of times, but I always ramble too much, so here we go again. So over here, we have a pretty cool setup. I've been using this for the past couple weeks to do some standard definition video editing, such as the Grandma videos. This is an Apple 27-inch LED cinema display. This was made for, I believe, 1 year from 2010 to 2011 before the Thunderbolt display came out. It's something that I've always wanted to have to kind of complete the setup with the 2012 Mac Pro. And as you know, it's not necessary to have an Apple monitor to use an Apple computer, but I kind of like the completeness of it. And all my other Pro Apple ones like the Power Macs have their matching monitors and stuff too. That's just how I've acquired them over the years. So it's pretty cool to have a whole matching set here as well. I do have a 23-inch HD cinema display that maybe would match this more, but I think this looks better. Anyway, how did I acquire this thing? Well, I was originally on the hunt for a Thunderbolt display for work that I could use for video editing and making videos for our technicians. So when they're out in the field, they have some examples and things to watch to help them fix machines. So I originally found this at the REPC place, and it turns out when I was looking closer at it, it was the mini DisplayPort version. So I picked it up. I knew if I liked it, I'd probably end up keeping it, and well, that's why it's here at home. I was given a little budget to go and find one of the Thunderbolt displays, and that's why I went and got this. Now, obviously, it's here at home. It's not at work where it was, purchased for. And I did use it at work for a little bit, and then I brought it home because I went out and found another one of these, but the Thunderbolt version. So it has the extra stuff on the back, and yes, on the back there are some ports. We have 3 USB 2.0 ports here on the 2010 Cinema display version. The Thunderbolt version has, Ethernet and a Thunderbolt port and FireWire 800 and all that kind of stuff, but the Cinema HD 27-inch LED thing here doesn't have that, and that's fine, because being able to hook it up to older machines through the mini DisplayPort, that's what I'm really looking for. It's in really good shape. You can notice up here in the corner there's a little bit of residue and stuff, and I've been working to get rid of these little stickers. It's taking some time, but it is getting better. So that's just some residue from me using Goo Gone and stuff, so a little better each time I try to do something with it. But other than that, there's not a lot of nicks or anything on it. There's a little bit of rubbing here on the base, and I think that's just from either whoever had a MacBook or something, or a metal keyboard, and they just always push stuff up on it like that, so it rubbed on the edges here. But other than that, even the screen itself, no dead pixels, nothing. It's in really good shape, no scratches. I don't know who had this thing, but they took very good care of it. Now, the Thunderbolt one that I picked up to replace this one at work also works really well, but I've noticed recently that it has some light issues on the edges, like the pixels and stuff are all weird right at the edge, just right at the edge. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but I've looked it up online. Some people say that the pixels are stuck and the IPS display isn't working right, and you can try to reset it by doing this colored image and all kinds of stuff. So we'll look into that separately at some other time at work, but for now, we have this really cool 27-inch LED cinema display here at home to edit some wonderful old standard definition content on. Pretty cool setup. I like this kind of stuff. I like using different machines. Now, of course, as you can see in the reflection there, we do have the Mac Mini over here, and this is the one that I use all the time. I still use this all the time. This is just a fun side computer to use, really. I use this one for all the YouTube stuff because it does HDR, and the display does high dynamic range as well, and the iPhone 13 does high dynamic, so just, an upgrade overall to get somewhat of a newer standard, because I'm not a big fan of 4K. Sure, this display is 4K. That's nice for working with, but I don't know, I haven't really jumped on the wagon for 4K video yet. It just takes up so much space. Either way, still use this thing a lot, but it's always fun to use some older machines to edit content as well. So, getting back to the Thunderbolt display at work, what am I using to edit with it? Well, I was originally using what was it? It was like an iMac 2009 that I had here at home that I brought in to use for it. And that thing's just getting too old, to be honest. So that sparked a thing between me and my boss. We talked about it, and we decided to get some new computers just for everything on this side of our company over here. So we got some nice new managed computers, because everything we had before was not managed by like an outside third party, you know, for security reasons. So it's great to make sure that we have upgraded security and everything. But now I don't have a Mac anymore. The company we went with to do all of that doesn't do Mac. So I was very disappointed in that. And my boss was a little disappointed as well, because he's an Apple guy too. But he didn't really want to get me a Mac to use, because we have one up front in our conference room that we use for just Zoom meetings. There's no company stuff on there. It only connects to do that, and I already have it kind of locked down to use that anyway, because I know how to do some of that stuff, but I'm so busy I don't have all day to manage everything, so that's why we got another party to do it. So anyway, we got some wonderful new Lenovo ThinkCentre computers and laptops and stuff, and very cool, very modern. The guys are using it well, so it's all working out. But again, I need my Mac. If I don't have a Mac, I'm gonna go nuts. So, well, we decided you can use the Mac Mini from up front and just bring it back and hook it up to the display. That's why I was looking for a display, is because I can hook it up to a nice Apple display that has built-in speakers, because there's not a lot of space at the shop to set up such a thing. So I needed something that was very compact. And sure, a 27-inch display isn't really compact, but it does have a lot of built-in nice stuff, like the ports on the back and the speakers and whatnot. Other than, you know, a very nice display. Now, I don't have this thing turned on at the moment, but it's a very nice display. I suppose we could turn it on just so you can look at it. Let me see. Let's go back to the Mac Mini situation. So, the one that we have up front is a 2018 i3 Mac Mini that we bought a long time ago just for the Zoom room purpose for meetings. So he thought I could just bring it back and forth to the front and the back and just hook it up, because I mean, it's a small thing, and use that for video editing and see how it goes. Well, usually when things retire over here and they're no longer usable anymore, he usually just lets the guys have whatever it is. If it's a computer thing, he usually gives it to me first. I have all kinds of cool stuff that have come from the company. Here it's coming up. So I think they're still in here. Yeah, these two laptops I got from us upgrading a while ago. These nice ThinkPads. So I brought them home, and I just love projects like this. So obviously I'm like, well, with everything else, I'd like to have that when we're all done. And I'm sure probably when it's useless in the future, I'm sure he'd let me have it anyway. But there was also the side thing about it. Like, I want a little bit more power than just enough to do some 1080p standard definition video editing. So, what should we do? Well, he wanted me to try it out on the Mac Mini first and see what would be best, but I decided to go out and venture on my own and buy a personal thing to bring in yet again, because that way I can ensure that I will have it in the future, and I've done that in the past, and he's been perfectly fine with it. So of course I wanted to pay as little as possible, but I wanted a big, you know, a lot of power for what I'm paying for. So what were some of the options? Well, I already have this thing, but I have it set up personally for myself. It has a lot of wonderful programs on it for keeping all the other computers running. And it has Windows 10 on it. It has some nice drives. I really have this thing set up nice to do some older programs and stuff with. So I don't really want to bring that in, and there's not really a lot of space for it either. Well, we can get something a little more modern that'll last a long time. So we thought about the Mac Mini here, the M1. Again, we wanted to see first how it would work with the 2018. I haven't even tried it really because I didn't want to bring it back and forth. But an M1 Mac Mini, well, if I'm going to eventually, in 10, 15 years, bring it home to add to the collection, I don't want another one. I already have one. This one's wonderful. I don't really need two in the collection. So what's something unique that I don't have in the collection, but still is powerful to do some basic video editing? This is what I came up with. I never thought I would have one of these in my collection because these things were incredibly expensive like a couple years ago. But the prices on these have come down because, sure, this cylinder trash can 2013 Mac Pro is, powerful. This thing's even more powerful. And this is the base model, M1, 8 gigs of RAM, whatever. This is the base. This thing's more powerful than this thing. It really just blows my mind how far we've come. Like, we've condensed all this down into a motherboard that's half the size of this. I mean, there's a lot of air in here with nothing going on. The motherboard in one of these is basically this big. It's small. Boy, we've come a long way from 2013 or even, 2012 condensing something like that. So, well, obviously, here it is in my collection. This will be perfect for using at work. It's small, which is great because I don't have a lot of space. It has Thunderbolt ports, so it'll connect to the Thunderbolt display perfectly. It doesn't have USB-C, which is a little bit sad, but of course that wasn't a thing at the time. We do have USB 3.0, so that's plenty quick for an external drive. And we have everything else. So, picked this up off of eBay for a very good price. It was in a lot of many of them. It's an 8-core model. It has 64 gigs of RAM, a 1 terabyte SSD, and it is in amazing condition. There's really just one little blemish. You can kind of see it right here, and that's really about it. It is in fantastic shape. So I'm sure some company must have had a whole bunch of these that they were using, and it was just time to retire them. So the prices of these things have come way down. And in fact, I got this, purchased this for less than a refurbished Mac Mini from Apple's website. So it was a great deal. I snatched it up, one of them out of their lot there. And sure enough, a day later, the rest of them were gone. So people snatched them up really quick. I'm really glad I got one because this is a really cool addition. I know I just blabbed for 13, 14 minutes here about computers, but this is just real cool to me. So, why don't we take a quick little look. Slide it over. The cover comes right off. Isn't that just awesome? Now, naturally, when it's plugged in and you give it a little turn, all these lights on the back light up so you can find the ports a little easier. We have our fan here at the top, and you can see it's relatively clean. It's very clean, surprising, for I don't know how long it was used, but it's in really good shape. It's all fingerprinted up because I've been touching it a lot, moving it around. This is the only plastic part on it, is this top cover here, and I'm sure that's so you can snap it off to get to some screws or something underneath. But the rest of it's metal. We have our two 16 gig sticks here. One of our D500 graphics cards with the SSD on it on this side. The secondary one. And another 2 sticks of 16. And we're back around here. So that's the inside. Now you just slide this back on. And there we go. So I had powered it on at work when it came yesterday, Friday the 13th, this thing showed up. Of course it would. And it works. It has the specs that the seller said it had. And the only thing that's a little odd is it's running 10.2 6.15, what is it, Catalina, I think? Whatever came after Mojave, because Mojave is what's running on here, and that's 1014. But I think this can run all the way up to Monterey, if I'm correct. So I need to upgrade the OS in it so that it's all ready to go, and then when I bring it to work Monday, I'll download all the apps and everything. And this is going to be a wonderful, really cool little portable, too, powerful workstation. Now, you know, I'm not doing 4K Ultra HD, UHD, high dynamic range editing with it. So I think 1080p standard definition, this thing's going to handle absolutely fine. To upgrade the OS in this guy, we will need a drive here because I want to wipe the SSD on here and start fresh. So we need and normally you'd use like a, you know, USB drive, but we use a hard drive here. I have about 1 million of them, and we'll wipe that and put Mac OS Monterey on there using the 2012 Mac Pro. So we'll start with all that. It's all ready. So now we just need to plug the drive in here. So we will shut down the 2012 Mac Pro, hook up all of its cords to this guy. Oh, power would be nice. Let's see what we get. A very shiny screen is what you get. Okay, so we see the Macintosh HD. And see if anything else comes up. I do have this plugged in. Maybe it just doesn't want to find it. We'll have to look into this problem. So I let the machine boot up into the Macintosh HD. The drive showed up, we restarted, held on option, here we are, and here we go. And there we go. As always, I do hope you enjoyed these videos, and also please comment, rate, share, and subscribe, and thank you very much for watching.